I'm Abrielle Millett for BYU-Idaho Radio, and I'm here today with Natalie Blackburn, who will be featured in the Rexburg Tabernacle Orchestra Chamber Ensembles. It's nice to meet you. How are you today?
I'm good. It's nice to meet you too.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you just because you're being featured in the Rexburg Tabernacle Orchestra. Are you excited about that?
Yes. I see that a little. It asked me on a different day, and maybe I'll be like, I'm really nervous. But overall, I'm really excited. So it's been fun so far to do the practices and stuff.
Can you give our audience a little background on who you are and your musical experience, and just so they know and get excited for this concert?
I mean, I grew up here, and I've done music my whole life. I actually started on piano when I was 5, and then saw an orchestra concert, and I was like, I want to do that. I wanted to play violin, but my piano teacher convinced me to play viola because there's a lot less violists in the world, and that ended up being really great. So that's what I did through high school, and I graduated from college on my viola. But I had always been interested in the violin because they get the melody more often, and that's really exciting to me. So kind of a little bit in high school and a little bit in college, I dabbled in violin and then graduated. And that's what I've been doing mostly ever since, which is actually was a surprise to me. I thought if I did professionally, it would mostly be on viola, which I do some, but a lot of it is violin now. So that's been fun.
Did you go into music education, music performance?
It was actually a Bachelor of Science in Music because I fought against being a music major for a long time. I was like, I don't know what I want to do with it. I know that I like it. So I kind of thought that I would go to medical school or do something in the sciences. So it ended up that I took a lot of science and music classes. So it's a Bachelor of Science in Music. But what it ended up being career-wise a lot is that I've taught a lot of private lessons over the last 25 years. I don't do it now. I retired a couple years ago. But yeah, the focus was a lot on just private lessons.
And when I looked online, it said you had been a longtime member of the Rexburg Tabernacle Orchestra, also known as the RTO.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How long have you been playing with them?
Actually, since the beginning, they started up RTO when I was in high school, which now feels like so long ago. I'm getting old. Just kidding. But it's been 22 years, 23, 24. I actually don't have the exact date when I started. I'm maybe around 16. So that'd be 24 years. So yeah, I've been with it since the beginning, and they've gone through multiple conductors since that time, and they've all been great. So it's been fun.
What's, I guess, different about their orchestra or how their process of it? I guess it changes probably with the different conductors and what concerts you guys are putting on, but
yeah, there's a general template, I guess. It's all volunteer orchestra, so taking that into account, a professional orchestra versus an all-volunteer orchestra. The all-volunteer orchestra, we work a lot on notes and rhythm, and this section needs to be louder than this section, or this grouping of instruments needs to be louder than this grouping of instruments here. It's just a lot of nitty-gritty every week, 2 hours of working on notes and rhythms and making sure the balance is right, and then hoping and praying that by the concert time it comes together. A lot of times, the rehearsal before, we'll all kind of look at each other and be like, is this going to come together? And it always does, which is amazing. By dress rehearsal, we're like, oh, good. But up until then, it's just a lot of nitty-gritty of notes and rhythms, and it's still really fun, but a lot of repetition and things like that.
That's neat that it's a volunteer orchestra, like you said. Mm-hmm. So I imagine there's a lot of, passion or interest because people are taking time out of their day to be a part of this. It's
from their own free will. There's no
Yeah,
motivation other than the love of music. Yeah, and it's surprising to me, not surprising, but unique to have this small of a town with a volunteer orchestra that sounds as good as we do, because not every small town has a ton of professional musicians in it that are willing to volunteer their time. So I feel like it's a really unique orchestra in that sense, where a lot of us are just there because we want music to be part of our community.
How would you describe like this concert that you guys will be putting on? Like, what can an audience member look forward to music-wise?
Yeah, this one is a little bit. Every late spring we do like a chamber series. So this one is a little bit different than what our other concerts are during the year. Usually everyone is together, but this one, it kind of highlights the different groupings of instruments. So the brass will have their own group and they'll play some songs, and then the woodwinds will have their own group and they'll play some songs. And then we have my solo that's featuring the violin, and then just the strings will play their own. So it's kind of a really good time to be able to like hear all the different voices and the different instruments, and it really breaks it up into a lot of unique type songs.
In this one, you said so everyone gets a little bit of like a focus feature in this one, just because of how it's grouped.
Yeah, kind of like the brass. Not that one person will be,
but as a
soloing
group,
other than my solo, but yeah, as a group, like there will be a brass quintet, and I think it's a quintet, then a woodwind, small grouping. So yeah, you'll get to really see all the instruments highlighted.
When you learned that you were being featured in this one, was it something that you're like, I want to do a feature, or did they like pick you?
Oh, did I ask, or did they pick me?
Yeah, it
was kind of where I had mentioned that I was working on something, and they're like, play it with us. And so I was like, oh, yes, I would love to, as I died a little inside. I'm just kidding. So it was kind of like a mix, and it just worked out, and it's been really fun.
I guess, why did you start working on this piece then? Like, what drew you to?
I think he's not a really well-known composer. So a long time ago, I was introduced to the composer, Eric Owazen, by actually a brass player, because this composer writes a lot for brass. And I was just curious, because actually this was back when I played another solo with the orchestra, so like 15 years ago. It goes back a long way. And I found it, so I heard all of his brass stuff, and I'm like, oh, he writes really beautiful stuff. I wonder if he wrote a violin concerto. And I found it, but it's hard to find, and it's hard to get the music, and no one knows it. But it's just kind of always been on my mind. Like, back then I was going through a hard time, and this piece has a lot of emotion in it, and it just kind of was like therapeutic for me to listen to. So I had kids and kind of like got out of music a little bit. But then as soon as I started picking it up again, then I was like, I really loved this concerto, and no one ever plays it. So I want to like learn it. And even if I don't play it anywhere, that's fine. But this concerto means a lot to me, because it's always been really therapeutic, and just there's moments that are really beautiful. And so I just wanted, it was just a goal for me to work on, to play.
It's just like an emotional work.
Yeah.
What would you say to people who maybe have never been to an orchestra or listened to live music? What would you say is kind of special about it?
I think if we're doing our jobs as musicians, which is to help create an experience for the audience. So if we're able to do that, it creates a moment that is really hard to replicate on the radio. Like if you're just listening to a pop song on the radio, or even, a classical piece, you can feel things and you can get excited. But live music can just bring out a lot of emotions. Like if we're trying to portray joy or sadness or anger, and everyone's in it together in the same spot and location listening to live music, it can really create an experience that's hard to replicate anywhere else. So I always feel like at the end of a concert, like a moment that was special really happened. If we do our job well.
It's like a moment in time.
Yeah.
That kind of reminds live theater kind of feels like that. It's very much like in the moment, and live music, like a live orchestra, is kind of like that.
Yeah, and on the radio or non-live, you can create everything to be perfect. But in live theater or live music, like everything's not perfect, and sometimes things are, not fall apart, but we're all humans together. You know what I mean? Like, and it's okay, and it's just a lot more of a real experience.
Yeah,
I
it
feel
feels
like
raw and real and human.
Yeah.
Will you be playing in all the pieces?
Mm-hmm.
And will you be playing just the violin, or?
Yeah, it was a debate. But yeah, no, I'm just playing the violin in the whole concert.
Was it easier to learn instruments after you picked up one of them?
Kind of. On the piano, it teaches a lot of theory and different clefs. Not that the clef helped on the viola, but it did on the violin. So, yeah, in general, having a bass in music makes it a lot easier to pick up other instruments. We have to figure out the physical aspect of it, like, my fingers are spread wider, or I have to add more pressure, or, whether, if you're changing between string instruments. But it definitely helps. Like, once you're a musician and kind of understand how music works, it's easier to pick up different instruments.
Yeah, especially if they're both like string, for example, if they're similar versus maybe brass would be quite different.
Right. Like in college, if you get a degree in music, you have to learn all the other instruments just so you have an understanding. And yeah, my mouth doesn't work as well for like a brass instrument as my fingers do. So that was a little bit harder to, transition, but at least I know what notes look like and clefs and how to transpose and all of those things.
Mm-hmm. What do you enjoy about music? Like being a part of your life? What?
Music is always, where I started young, it's always been a really big part of my life. For a while, I think it's changed over time. At the beginning, I just enjoyed practicing something and getting good at something. And superficial as it sounds, I appreciated people saying, "You did a great job," or getting an award for something. Like, a lot of it was just kind of that superficial enjoyment from it. But then over time, I've realized that I just love to create. And whether it's, there's a lot of different ways you can create, but music has kind of been the one that comes to me the most natural. But also, aside from just creating, it's a really great outlet. Sometimes I get anxious or I get sad, or, and struggle with those emotions. And it's been really nice, and I've really been conscious of it over the last few years, how nice it is to be like, I am kind of angry, and I'm going to play this piece of music and put my whole soul, maybe that sounds cheesy, but all of my anger into this music. Or you play at a church function and you're like, I'm going to put all of my testimony into this piece of music that I'm playing, and I'm going to hopefully help everyone else feel this spirit. So for me, it's aside from just enjoying it, and when I hear music, I want to join in and create with them, but it's also been a really great way to ground me and for me to express everything that I'm feeling. So,
No, that's beautiful. It's a great outlet in a way, like you said, to express and to feel emotions. Music is such a powerful thing that I feel like connects a lot of people, just because it's I think the phrase that people like to say, it's a language we can all speak.
Everyone can feel it, even if they don't understand music. If I'm putting something out there that helps other people feel something, then that's really rewarding.
It's beautiful. What would you say to encourage someone to go to this specific orchestra concert?
I mean, you'll hear a really beautiful concerto that no one knows or knows how to pronounce his name. And also, like, if you're on the fence about it and thinking, oh, is it worth my time to go to a concert, whether it's this concert or another concert, but this is the closest one right now. So if you're on the fence about whether you should go, I don't think anyone regrets having a human experience like live music. So, like I said, we're playing some really beautiful pieces and some pieces that really touch deep. I'm trying not to be like cheesy, but pieces that are really fun or just really emotional. And I think just being able to experience that, and the concert's free, so you're not, it's not a huge investment to go. To be able to experience something really special.
And this concert is April 30th, this coming Thursday?
Yep, at the Romance Theater. Normally the Rexburg Tabernacle Orchestra plays at the Tabernacle. So this is the first one that's at the Romance Theater because the Tabernacle's getting renovated.
Oh, cool. So, and it's at 7:30.
7:30
p.m. And like you mentioned, it's free. So you might as well go.
Might as well.
A free live orchestra concert.
Yeah.
And it's featuring you.
Yes.
So it has to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one more thing to add is, what would you say to encourage someone who might be learning an instrument, struggling with a piece, kind of how do you move past that as a musician?
Yeah. I think the first thing is knowing you're not alone, because learning an instrument can be really discouraging and really frustrating. And there's every single, I guess I can't speak for everyone, but everyone that I've known has hit a point where they question why they're playing that instrument, or where they think they've kind of hit their limit on what they can accomplish or what they can do. So whether that starts out right from the beginning and you think that it's just a really hard instrument, or it comes naturally to you and then you hit that wall, inevitably you'll hit a wall. And I think learning an instrument really, really helps you learn how to push past walls that we build for ourselves. So once you go past that wall, then you kind of ride this wave of, I did something really hard that I didn't know I could do. And then you hit another wall, and that's totally normal, but it's constantly teaching us how to break walls and how to open our mind and do things that we thought we weren't capable of. And I think there's something really humbling about that, but also really empowering when you're learning an instrument.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Again, this has been Abrielle Millett for BYU-Idaho Radio, and I've been here today with Natalie Blackburn, who will be featured in the Rexburg Tabernacle Orchestra Chamber Ensembles. So go to the concert.
Yes, please do.
Thank you for being here with me.
Thank you for having me.